Hello, class. Back in the rocker. It's warming up. It's still a little bit onomatopoeia. So that being said, a couple things to consider when proofreading our papers with the notion of adding length, right? How to make it longer, as our book tells us, and when to make it shorter. Um, Essentially things to avoid. So first off, when I Google how to make an essay longer, right, the Chegg Easy Bib service comes up. And again, it's nice that just like the online writing lab from Purdue, they have an opportunity for you to turn in a paper to get feedback. But why not use the Writing Center? Um, they also have that same opportunity. So as part of the proofreading tips, as part of the how to make a paper longer and when to make it shorter, it's always important to get feedback from somebody else. And what better place with Ethos than the Writing Center, and you can submit it electronically. So as you know, the link to the Writing Center is in the Student Services and Resources module, the very first module of the semester, and the module that I kind of drag behind each class. I've condensed what I find to be the most 4 or 5 effective Student Services and Resources pages. And I put them at the end of every module. And one of those pages is the Writing Center. It's free, part of your tuition. Take advantage of it. That being said, good advice, right? The book, How to Make a Paper Longer, #1, add examples or explain your reasons to clarify. Okay, great idea, right? So as they suggest here, look back at your prompt, right? Make sure that you have fulfilled the guidelines. Did you answer all the questions? Did you provide supporting evidence, right? Now that's where we're getting into examples. And you may say, well, how do I generate more examples? Ask yourself the 6 questions: who, what, when, where, why, and how. I know it seems simple and rudimentary, but it's a great way to generate ideas, especially if you're giving, right, examples of stereotypes, examples of effects, examples of causes, right? Describe it, right, with the 6 questions in mind. And to make your descriptions more vivid, use, right, words that relate to the 5 senses. And again, they might not all apply, but definitely, right, you've got the idea of sight, you've got the idea of sound with onomatopoeia again. You know how I feel about the figures of speech. I embrace them. Sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. So the first strategy is to add an example or explain your reasons. I think that's a wonderful way to add more details. Second idea, mention other views of the subject that differ from yours. Either incorporate them, synthesize your analysis with your evaluation of the sources to fulfill your learning outcomes as you're making your arguments and developing your arguments, or you can also disprove them. And when you disprove them, you always want to offer a concession before you get to the counter argument and the refutation. You want to appear Rogerian. Remember, Rogerian strategy, Rogerian argument. It's very, very important to offer concessions before the refutation. Add details, right? We've gone over that. Examples according to the 6 questions and the details according to the 5 senses. Details are the life of the paper, as they say, right? Use adjectives and adverbs to spruce up and to enliven your writing. Remember, adjectives answer the question, what kind? What kind of noun? Adverbs answer the question, how something has been done. Slowly, quickly, happily, right? Now, when to make a paper shorter. So before I get to those, what not to do, let's just review here the Easy Bib page from Chegg, right? Did you answer the questions in the prompt? Did you provide the supporting evidence to back up your claims? Did you leave out any info that might increase the reader's understanding? Again, maybe a personal anecdote. And did you meet all the requirements besides length, well, including length, for the paper? Go back through your intro and conclusion, and make sure when you're looking at your intro and conclusion, you think about your possible titles. I must repeat the advice that my English teacher gave me when I was in college, Professor Anna Ingalls, right? She said, go back to your intro, go back to your conclusion. That's when you're most creative. Is there a word, is there a phrase, or an idea that you could craft into a title? It's good advice. And then obviously have someone proofread, make sure you're using quotes, right? Read your paper out loud, make sure to have transitional phrases. And now we're kind of getting into proofreading tips. I like this one here, right? Ask your instructor for help. Remember, office hours, you can call me. Whenever you need to contact me, just let me know. My work phone's on during the day. So you can text, you can call, you can voice memo. And as you know, when you Canvas message me and email me, I usually respond by the end of the day or within 24 hours at the latest. But the easiest thing to do if you have a question is call me, and you can read me the paragraph over the phone. You could upload the paragraph or email me the paragraph, and we can talk about it on the phone, or we can Zoom. So let me know what I can do to help. Now, what to avoid, right? Essentially avoid wordiness and repetition and unnecessary information if you kind of get sidetracked and go off on tangents, right? So make sure that it has a sense of coherence, and go back and review those supporting ideas you mentioned in your intro and on your outline, and make sure that each of your body paragraph focuses on those. Now, what do I mean when I say trimming wordiness, right? I'll include the definition of wordy on the page that the video is posted if you want to click to it. Too many words, verbose, right? Verbose, when you're using too many words. So make sure that you eliminate wordiness. How do you do that? Use active voice, use nouns rather than vague pronouns, use verbs rather than nouns to express action. Avoid unnecessary language, and use the key noun as the subject and the key verb as the main action of the sentence. So you've got a link here if you'd like to hamilton.edu, eliminating wordiness. Avoiding repetition, right? What do I mean by that? Do not overuse words. Use a thesaurus and use synonyms so that you're not using the same words over, and reading aloud will help you avoid that. Also think about repetition from sentence variation standpoint, right? It's, make sure that your sentences aren't repetitious as well. Redundancy. What do I mean by that? Avoiding redundancy, right? And here's the word for repetition: the act of repeating or doing or saying something or writing it again. Again, repetition is when you use the same words. Redundancy, right, is when you say the same thing over but with different words. You duplicate the information, but it's not the exact same words, right? It's overlapping, right? Superfluous repetition or overlapping. Now, again, you know how I feel about the dictionary, right? You may not know what superfluous means, so let's check that one out, right? Superfluous means being more than is sufficient or required, excessive. And superfluous relates to wordiness and redundancy, right? So how can we avoid redundancy? Avoid using double negatives, unless you're Shakespeare, of course, right? Beware of plentyism. Well, guess what we're going to have to look up now too, right? Live learning, people. That's what we're doing here. What are plentyisms? The use of more words than are necessary to convey meaning, right? See with one's eyes. Again, that's repetitious. I'm sorry, that's redundant because you use your eyes to see. So saying that would be a pleonasm. Okay, sorry about that. Again, live learning. So good stuff. I'll put links to all of these ideas. So beware of pleonasms. Be careful when using abbreviations. Be conscious of language. Remove unnecessary phrases. Use intensifiers, things that make things intense, exclamation points, that kind of stuff appropriately. So by avoiding wordiness, by avoiding repetition, and by avoiding redundancy, we can make sure that we're not doing too much, right? That's part of the when to make it shorter aspect of the reading, and how to make a paper longer. Essentially focus on adding examples, focus on adding details, focus on adding analysis and evaluation and synthesis, all of those ideas that help to achieve your learning outcomes. And lastly, get some feedback from the Writing Center and myself as well. And that's what happens when you submit your drafts. So I hope this was helpful. We've got 2 videos now to really focus on editing and revising strategies as we're moving forward with submitting our essay components and the completed essays. I hope this video was helpful. Thanks for watching and listening. And as always, get in touch if you have any questions.